In 1953, your grandmother could clean an entire house top to bottom with 5 products that cost less than 2 shillings combined. Today, you need a different spray for every surface, and your weekly cleaning bill rivals a small electricity payment. Number 18 on this list was actually removed from shop shelves after a consumer safety campaign, but laboratory tests prove it cleans better than any branded product on the market. And number 4 involves a chemical reaction so effective that a major cleaning corporation bought the patent just to bury it. These 25 products were cheap, brutal, and devastatingly effective. So effective that companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, and Reckitt spent decades in advertising to make you forget they ever existed. Because if you knew what your grandmother kept under her kitchen sink, you would never buy another bottle of branded cleaner again. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because what you are about to learn will change the way you clean forever. Let us count down the 25 cleaning products that vanished from British homes. Number 25. Soda crystals for blocked drains. Before Mr. Muscle promised to dissolve every blockage, your grandmother reached for a bag of washing soda crystals that cost 3p from the hardware shop. She would boil a full kettle, pour a cup of soda crystals straight down the plug hole, then chase it with the boiling water. You would hear the drain gurgle and spit as the alkaline solution attacked grease, soap scum, and hair. She did this every Friday evening. Prevention, not cure. A £2 bag cost about 4p in 1955 and lasted 3 months. Modern drain unblockers cost £4 a bottle and contain the same active ingredient, sodium carbonate, just diluted and scented with artificial fragrance. Your grandmother bought it concentrated. We buy it watered down. Same chemistry, 10 times the price. Number 24. Vinegar and newspaper for windows. Every Saturday morning in terraced streets across Britain, you would see women leaning out of upstairs windows with a bucket and a crumpled ball of newspaper. A splash of malt vinegar in warm water, a rag to wash, then sheets of yesterday's Daily Mirror scrunched tight for polishing. The newspaper left windows streak-free and sparkling in a way that modern microfiber cloths cannot replicate. Printer's ink from 1950s newspapers contained carbon black and linseed oil compounds that acted as a mild abrasive and left a thin protective film on glass. The vinegar dissolved hard water deposits and grease. Together, they created a 1-2 punch that left panes so clear the neighbours could see your clean nets from across the road. A bottle of vinegar cost 2p. The newspaper was yesterday's news. Total cost, nearly nothing. When Windeline launched its spray bottles in the 1960s, suddenly a job that cost nothing required a branded product at 1 6 a tin. Number 23. White spirit for paint stains. When your dad dripped gloss paint on the lino during his annual decorating spree, your mum did not panic. She reached for the tin of white spirit that lived in the cupboard under the stairs. A rag soaked in white spirit lifted fresh paint off any hard surface in seconds. It dissolved gloss, eggshell, and varnish without damaging the surface underneath. A pint tin cost about 1 3 in 1956 and lasted years because you only ever needed a capful at a time. It also cleaned paintbrushes back to new, meaning one good brush lasted a decade. The smell was fierce, proper solvent that made your eyes water, but it worked on contact. Today, we buy specialist paint remover sprays at £6 a can, wait 20 minutes for them to work, then scrub with a plastic scraper. Your grandmother's white spirit did the job before you could put the kettle on. Health and safety campaigns in the 1980s warned about solvent fumes, and rightly so in enclosed spaces. But used sensibly with a window open, white spirit was the most effective paint cleaner ever sold in Britain. Number 22. Borax for laundry whitening. That box of borax sitting on the shelf above the copper boiler was your grandmother's secret weapon against grey whites. She would add 2 tablespoons to the wash water along with soap flakes, and bedsheets came out so white they almost glowed on the line. Borax is sodium tetraborate, a natural mineral that softened hard water, boosted soap's cleaning power, and acted as a mild bleach all at once. A £1 box cost about 6p in 1952 and lasted 2 months of weekly washes. It also killed bacteria and removed stubborn stains from cloth nappies, which mattered enormously in a decade before disposables existed. The EU restricted the sale of borax in 2010 over concerns about reproductive toxicity at high doses. The concentrations your grandmother used in a washtub were nowhere near dangerous levels, but the regulation killed consumer availability overnight. Meanwhile, we spend £3.50 on Vanish Oxy Action, which works on the same oxygen releasing principle, but with added synthetic brighteners. Your grandmother's borax was simpler, cheaper, and according to textile scientists, gentler on fabric over time. Number 21. Linseed oil for wooden floors. Before varnish and polyurethane sealed every floorboard shut, your grandmother fed her wooden floors with raw linseed oil. She would pour a small amount onto a cloth and rub it into the grain, working section by section on her hands and knees. The oil soaked deep into the wood, creating a warm amber glow that improved with every application. One treatment a month kept floors water-resistant and beautiful for decades. A pint of raw linseed oil cost about 1 shilling in 1955 and covered the floors of an average terrace house 4 times over. The oil cured slowly, bonding with the wood rather than sitting on top like modern varnish. Scratches could be buffed out with another application instead of sanding the entire room. Modern floor treatments seal the surface, trapping moisture underneath and eventually causing the wood to crack. Linseed oil lets the wood breathe. Furniture restorers still swear by it. Number 20. Elbow grease and a pumice stone for the front step. In mining towns and mill villages across the north, the front doorstep was scrubbed and whitened every morning before the street was awake. Your grandmother would kneel on folded newspaper, wet the stone step, and scour it with a block of pumice or a donkey stone until the sandstone gleamed pale and clean. Donkey stones made from pulverized stone, cement and bleach powder were sold door to door by ragmen for a halfpenny each. A clean step told the entire street that your household had standards. A dirty step invited gossip. The abrasive action removed soot, coal dust and grime that settled overnight from factory chimneys. No chemical spray could achieve the same deep clean on porous stone. Pumice is still the most effective abrasive for natural stone, used by professional restorers on listed buildings. We just stopped doing it at home. Number 19. Caustic soda for oven cleaning. That brown glass jar with the skull and crossbones label was the most feared item under your grandmother's sink. Caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, dissolved baked on grease like nothing else. She would make a paste with water, spread it inside the oven wearing rubber gloves, leave it overnight, and wipe out the residue in the morning. The oven looked factory new every single time. A £1 jar cost about 9p in 1954 and lasted over a year of monthly cleans. The same active ingredient appears in every professional oven cleaning product today, just diluted, fragranced and sold at £8 a can. Your grandmother bought it pure. She respected it, used gloves, kept it away from children, and her oven was cleaner than yours will ever be. Modern oven cleaners contain roughly 3% sodium hydroxide. Caustic soda is nearly 100%. That is why it worked in one application while you spray and respray for 20 minutes on a Sunday evening. First pattern break. Here is where things get interesting. Paraffin lamps disappeared from most British homes by the early 1960s, but the paraffin itself stayed in the cleaning cupboard for years. Your grandmother discovered that a rag dampened with paraffin oil could clean and polish chrome, brass and steel better than any metal polish on the market. Taps, door handles, curtain rails, even the chrome trim on the cooker. A quick wipe with paraffin cut through tarnish and left a protective film that prevented future oxidation. The petroleum oils displaced moisture, the same principle that makes WD-40 work today. A gallon of paraffin cost about 2 shillings from the hardware shop, delivered to your door by the paraffin man who drove through estates with his cart every Thursday. We replaced this with 14 different branded metal polishes, one for brass, one for chrome, one for stainless steel. Your grandmother used one product for the lot, and her taps were shinier than yours. Number 17. Bread poultice for drawing splinters and cleaning wallpaper. A thick slice of white bread soaked in warm milk and pressed against dirty wallpaper sounds like madness. But it worked. The glutens in bread acted as a gentle adhesive, lifting soot marks and fingerprints from delicate floral wallpaper without tearing or wetting the paper. Your grandmother would press a slice of mother's pride against the wall, let it sit for 30 seconds, and peel it away, taking the grime with it. In an era when every front room had patterned wallpaper, this trick kept walls presentable between annual redecoration. Bread cost about 9 pence a loaf. The end slices nobody wanted to eat became cleaning tools. It also worked as a poultice for drawing splinters and boils, but that is another list entirely. Today, specialist wallpaper cleaning sponges cost £4 each and work on exactly the same principle: gentle adhesive contact. Your grandmother just used bread. Number 16. Bleach and cold water for everything. Thick bleach, Parazone or Domestos, diluted 1 capful to a bucket of cold water, was the universal disinfectant of the 1950s British home. Your grandmother washed floors, countertops, toilet bowls, draining boards, bins, and even the inside of the fridge with the same solution. 1 product, 1 dilution, the entire house sanitized. A bottle of thick bleach cost about 1 shilling and lasted a month. The sodium hypochlorite killed virtually every bacterium and virus on contact. Today, we buy separate antibacterial sprays for the kitchen, bathroom, toilet and floor, averaging £12 to £15 a month on products that all contain variations of the same active ingredient. Your grandmother's bleach and cold water method is still recommended by the NHS for infection control during outbreaks. We just forgot that 1 bottle does it all. Number 15. Salt for carpet stains. When someone spilled red wine or tea on the front room carpet, your grandmother did not reach for a bottle of Vanish. She grabbed the salt cellar. A thick layer of table salt poured immediately onto the wet stain absorbed the liquid through osmosis, drawing the color out of the carpet fibers and into the salt crystals. Leave it for 30 minutes, then vacuum. The stain disappeared. Salt cost about 2 pence for a full box in 1955. It worked on wine, tea, blood, and gravy. The trick was speed. The salt had to hit the stain while it was still wet. Once dry, nothing short of professional cleaning would shift it. Modern stain removers work on similar chemical principles, using surfactants to lift pigment from fibers. But they cannot match the immediate absorbent action of plain table salt on a fresh spill. Your grandmother knew this. She kept the salt box within arm's reach of the good carpet. Always. Number 14. Soap flakes for hand washing. Before biological detergents and enzyme powders, Lux soap flakes were the gold standard for delicate washing. Your grandmother dissolved a handful of flakes in warm water and gently squeezed woolen jumpers and silk blouses through the suds. Soap flakes were pure saponified fat. No enzymes, no optical brighteners, no synthetic fragrances. They cleaned through surface tension alone, lifting dirt without attacking fabric fibers. A packet cost about 7 pence in 1956 and washed 20 garments. Modern delicate wash detergents cost £4 and contain chemicals that slowly break down natural fibers over repeated washes. Textile conservators at the Victoria and Albert Museum still wash antique fabrics with pure soap flakes because nothing else is as gentle. Your grandmother's woolen cardigan lasted 30 years. Yours lasts 3 because the detergent eats it alive. Number 13. Ammonia for glass and grease. That brown bottle of household ammonia was the hardest working product in the cleaning cupboard. A capful in warm water-cleaned glass, cut grease on cooker tops, and stripped wax build-up from linoleum floors. The ammonia dissolved fats on contact, breaking them into water-soluble compounds that wiped away clean. Your grandmother used it on oven racks, grill pans, and chip pan exteriors where grease had baked on in layers. A bottle cost about 9 pence in the mid-1950s and lasted months. The smell was brutal. You knew the kitchen was getting a proper clean when the ammonia came out. Windows flung open and children sent outside. But when the fumes cleared, every surface sparkled. Modern degreasers cost £3 to £4 and contain diluted ammonia mixed with surfactants. Your grandmother bought it pure and diluted it herself. We pay someone else to add water to our cleaning products. Number 12. Washing blue for white linens. Reckitt's Washing Blue, a tiny muslin bag of synthetic ultramarine dye, was the final secret to white sheets that dazzled on the line. Your grandmother would swish the blue bag in the final rinse water until it turned a pale sky blue. The optical trick was genius. White fabrics naturally yellow over time. A minute trace of blue pigment counteracted the yellow cast, making the cotton appear brilliantly white to the human eye. It did not bleach. It did not damage fibers. It tricked the light. A packet of blue bags cost about 4p and lasted months. This is the exact same principle behind optical brighteners in modern detergents, but those synthetic fluorescent chemicals have been linked to skin irritation and aquatic toxicity. Reckitt's Blue was a simple mineral pigment, harmless, effective, and elegant. When automatic washing machines made the rinse cycle invisible, we lost the ability to control this step. Now the machine adds brighteners we cannot see, in doses we cannot choose, using chemicals that were never necessary. Your grandmother's blue bag was better. Second pattern break. Now here is where the cleaning companies really pulled a fast one. Turpentine was not just for artists. Your grandmother kept a bottle in the kitchen for one specific job, removing sticky labels, adhesive residue, and tar marks from hard surfaces. A drop of turpentine on a cloth dissolved gum, tree sap, and glue residue instantly. It also cleaned oil-based stains from fabric if caught early enough. The solvent evaporated completely, leaving no residue. A pint cost about 1.6 in 1955 and lasted years in a stoppered bottle. Today, we buy Gougon at £5 for 250 millilitres. The active ingredient is a citrus-based solvent that works on the same principle as turpentine, just slower and weaker. When 3M and Henkel started using stronger adhesives on their labels and tapes in the 1970s, they knew consumers would need solvent removers. A problem and a solution, both sold by the same industry. Your grandmother's turpentine handled every adhesive the 1950s could produce. It would handle today's too. Number 11. Methylated spirit for stain removal. Methylated spirit, that purple-tinted alcohol, removed ink stains, grass marks, and shoe polish from clothing with terrifying efficiency. Your grandmother would dab a small amount onto the stain with a clean cloth, working from the outside in to prevent spreading. The alcohol dissolved the stain's binding agent, lifting it cleanly from the fabric. A bottle cost about 1 shilling in 1955 and lasted months because each stain needed only a thimbleful. School uniform grass stains that modern detergent cannot shift in 3 washes came out first. Try with methylated spirit. Biro ink on shirt pockets vanished in seconds. Shoe polish ground into the hall carpet lifted out with a dab and a blot. Modern stain removal sprays contain diluted solvents mixed with surfactants and fragrance. Your grandmother's meths was pure solvent at a fraction of the cost. The only reason it disappeared from routine use is that it smells clinical, not lavender fresh. We traded effectiveness for pleasant fragrance. Number 10. Beeswax and turpentine furniture polish. Your grandmother mixed her own furniture polish from beeswax shavings melted into turpentine. She would warm the mixture gently in a tin set in hot water, never over a direct flame, until the wax dissolved into a smooth paste. Applied with a soft cloth and buffed to a shine, this polish fed the wood, filled fine scratches, and left a depth of luster that no spray can replicate. A block of beeswax cost about 6p from the ironmonger. Combined with turpentine, it made enough polish to last 6 months. The wax built up over years, creating a protective patina that improved with age. Modern spray polishes contain silicone, which sits on the surface, creating an artificial shine that attracts dust and eventually builds up into a cloudy film. Antique dealers can spot silicone-damaged furniture immediately. Professional furniture restorers still use beeswax and turpentine exclusively. Number 9. Tea leaves for sweeping carpets. Before vacuum cleaners were affordable, your grandmother swept carpets with a stiff broom. But first, she would scatter damp tea leaves across the floor. The moisture in the leaves trapped dust and hair, preventing it from rising into the air and settling back onto surfaces. The tannins in the tea also deodorized the carpet, leaving a faint, clean scent. A day's worth of used tea leaves collected by the sink, scattered and swept up in the evening. The method cost nothing. When Hoover started marketing affordable uprights in the late 1950s, the tea leaf method became unnecessary. But for anyone with hard floors today, Damp sweeping is still recommended by flooring manufacturers over dry sweeping because it prevents micro scratches from airborne grit. Your grandmother invented the original damp sweep. Number 8. Vinegar for limescale. The kettle in your grandmother's kitchen was descaled with malt vinegar once a month. Fill it with equal parts vinegar and water, bring it to the boil, leave it to soak for an hour, then rinse. The limescale dissolved completely. The acetic acid in vinegar reacts with calcium carbonate to produce carbon dioxide, water, and soluble calcium acetate. Pure chemistry. A bottle of vinegar costs twopence. Modern kettle descalers contain citric acid, which works on the same principle, just packaged in a sachet and sold for £2.50. Your grandmother also used neat vinegar around taps, wrapping a soaked cloth around the fitting overnight. In hard water areas of southern England, this was a weekly ritual. No branded product has improved on this method in 70 years. Number 7. Glycerine for stubborn fabric stains. A small bottle of glycerine from the chemist was your grandmother's secret weapon against set-in stains. She would warm a teaspoon and work it into the stain before washing. The glycerine softened and loosened dried pigment, making it soluble again so the wash could carry it away. It worked on coffee, tea, fruit juice, and even old blood stains that had already been through the wash. A bottle cost about sixpence in the 1950s and lasted for years. Glycerine is still used in professional stain removal, but it vanished from household use when pre-treat sprays arrived in the 1980s. The difference is that glycerine is a simple, non-toxic compound. Modern pre-treaters contain enzymes and solvents that weaken fabric over repeated use. Number 6. Oxalic acid for rust stains. That small packet of salts of lemon from the chemist was actually oxalic acid, and it removed rust stains from porcelain, fabric, and stone like nothing else. Your grandmother would dissolve a teaspoon in warm water and apply it to rust marks on the bath, the sink, or the front step. The stain vanished in minutes. Oxalic acid chelates iron oxide, converting insoluble rust into a soluble compound that rinses away clean. A packet cost about fourpence and lasted months. Modern rust removers contain phosphoric acid or hydrochloric acid, both harsher on surfaces and far more expensive. Salts of lemon are still available in some chemists, but have fallen from common knowledge. Your grandmother's enamel bath stayed white for 40 years because she knew what to reach for when a rust drip appeared from the tap. Number 5. Cold water starch for shirt collars. Robin starch, dissolved in cold water and applied to shirt collars and cuffs, created a crisp, professional finish that no iron alone could achieve. Your grandmother would dip the collar into the starch solution, wring it gently, and iron it while still damp. The starch formed a rigid coating that repelled dirt and sweat, keeping collars white and stiff all day. A packet cost about fourpence and starched dozens of shirts. The starch coating meant collars stayed cleaner longer, reducing how often shirts needed washing. Less washing meant less wear on fabric. It was simultaneously a cleaning product and a preservation technique. When permanent press fabrics arrived in the 1960s, starching became unnecessary for most clothes. But permanent press shirts lose their shape after a dozen washes. Your grandmother's starched cotton shirts kept their crisp shape for years. Different method, superior result. Third pattern break. Here is what nobody talks about. The steel wool pad, branded as Brillo in the UK, was your grandmother's answer to burnt pans, baked on casserole dishes and blackened grill racks. She kept a box under the sink and reached for it when soaking alone could not shift the damage. The soap impregnated steel wool cut through carbonized food in seconds, restoring even the most abused roasting tin to working order. A box cost about 9pence for 8 pads. One pad cleaned 3 or 4 pans. Modern non-scratch scouring pads are designed to protect coated cookware, which is sensible. But for uncoated steel, cast iron, and enamel, nothing matches steel wool for stripping burnt residue. Your grandmother's roasting tins lasted 30 years of weekly use because she cleaned them properly with Brillo instead of letting burned layers accumulate under gentle sponging. Number 3. Camphor balls for moth prevention. Mothballs made from camphor were placed in wardrobes, drawers, and blanket boxes to protect woolen clothing and fabrics from moth larvae. The camphor sublimated slowly, releasing vapor that killed moth eggs and larvae on contact. A box cost about sixpence and protected an entire wardrobe for a season. The smell was distinctive. That sharp medicinal scent meant winter coats and best suits were safe. When naphthalene mothballs replaced camphor in the 1960s, they brought health concerns about toxicity and carcinogenicity. Modern cedar balls and lavender sachets smell nicer but are far less effective at actually killing moth larvae. Genuine camphor, derived from the camphor tree, was the original and best moth preventative. Your grandmother's wool coat survived 25 winters because camphor protected it. Your cashmere jumper lasts 2 seasons because lavender sachets are decoration, not defense. Number 2. Carbolic soap for household disinfection. That dark red bar of Lifebuoy carbolic soap was the frontline defense against germs in every 1950s household. Your grandmother scrubbed kitchen surfaces, washed floors, cleaned the outside toilet, and even bathed the dog with the same bar. Carbolic acid, or phenol, is a powerful antiseptic that kills bacteria, fungi, and viruses on contact. A bar cost about 3p and lasted a month of daily use. Hospitals used carbolic solution for surgical disinfection well into the 1960s. Your grandmother had hospital-grade cleaning in her kitchen for the price of a cup of tea. When liquid antibacterial soaps replaced the carbolic bar, we gained convenience but lost raw effectiveness. Modern antibacterial products contain triclosan or benzalkonium chloride, chemicals now under scrutiny for contributing to antibiotic resistance. Carbolic soap just killed everything. Some chemists still stock it. If you can find a bar, buy 10. Number 1. Soda crystals, vinegar, and bleach. The Holy Trinity. This was not one product. It was a system. Your grandmother cleaned her entire house with 3 items that cost less than 2 shillings combined. Soda crystals for grease and drains, vinegar for glass and limescale, bleach for disinfection, no cupboard full of 15 different bottles, no subscription boxes, no influencer recommendations. 3 products handled every cleaning task in a 3-bedroom terrace. The total monthly cost was about 1 shilling and 9p in 1955. Today, the average British household spends over £30 a month on cleaning products. The cleaning industry did not grow by making better products. It grew by convincing us we needed more of them. A different bottle for every surface, a different spray for every room. Your grandmother would look under your sink and laugh. Then, she would throw half of it away, hand you a box of soda crystals, and tell you to get on with it. Here is my challenge. Pick 3 products from this list. Soda crystals, vinegar, and a bar of carbolic soap. Use nothing else for 1 week. Then come back and tell me your house is any less clean. I tried it, and I cannot go back. Share which product you are going to try first in the comments. And if your grandmother is still around, call her. She has been right about this the whole time.